hitting the button is never a guarantee that things work. Oh, it's true. Oh, I just heard the Discord sound that we're live.
So did I.
So,
I got the notification on my cell phone that Facebook is live.
is there like, can I just put like real life and podcasts? No, I guess so. We're talking about DLC, right? What's a
DLC
good game to tag
microtransactions.
for microtransactions and DLC? That's not Fortnite.
Oh, don't know.
I don't know.
Gosh.
I wish I recorded
Paid
like an hour of
content?
Elite Dangerous. Paid content. I'm just gonna put Elite Dangerous in the game title, and that's where it's gonna be.
Interesting. That's
Right.
I don't know how that.
What up, Josh? How you doing, man?
I don't know
we're
how
doing
that
something
relates to
different today.
what we're talking
doing,
about.
Man, I don't know. It'll work. It'll work. The only problem is this is gonna pick up my Facebook Messenger, and I need to find a way to mute it.
Well,
My
I should
chat's
probably
not
silence
working.
my phone then. Got it.
Why is my chat box not working? What's up, guys? Blaze Jedi with Stress Iron Gaming here. We're doing something a little different today. We're doing a podcast for, like we've been saying we do for the last 2 months. I'm gonna let my buddy introduce himself.
Oh, hey everybody. This is Angsty Raccoon. You may have seen me time to time. Huge fan of the Forge. Watch Blaze do this from the get-go. And I think what he's got going is really impressive. He's got the energy.
Right. You've been with us since the beginning, haven't you?
Well, more like an avid listener, if you will. So whenever I get the chance.
Jeez.
Yeah, if you're that first-time listener, go ahead and follow him on Twitch, Facebook,
Oh,
YouTube.
God. Here we
Do what
go.
you can.
Josh is working in engine. Oh yeah, man, you're back at work. Cheers to speedy recovery. What's up, Pants? Yeah, we're on the sick page today. Weird, right? All right, guys. So yeah, we've been working on this podcast thing for a while. Decided to give it a go finally. Our first topic, as the title suggests, will be downloadable content or DLC and microtransactions. Just little insight on the business, personal opinions, stuff like that. Josh, the reason you can't donate is because we haven't streamed on the page in so long. We've lost our level up tag. So yeah, this will be the start of getting that badge back.
Is it the equivalent of like losing your man card and you have to get it back?
No, it's more like we've pissed off the algorithm.
I didn't know machines had feelings. Wow, we really are in advanced society. Pretty soon they're going to catch on and think we're a nuisance and then take over.
One day soon.
Let me pull up our... Give them time.
I don't know why the chat's not working. Can I donate on Discord? I don't think so. I don't even know where our donate link is. Hold on. But yeah, all right. So Angsty, take us away with the start of this beautiful, beautiful topic while I find all the things.
Okay, so those of you listening, thank you for taking time to listen. Obviously, like Blaze said, we've been waiting to do this for a while. One of the things that, especially me and him, come around to talking about a lot is through microtransactions and DLC downloadable content. So kind of set the boundaries for what we'll be planning to talk about. One is that is a common definition of what a DLC is. Obviously, to those of you in the community, it's downloadable content. Additional content that can be purchased online and added onto a video game as to enhance its features. So that last part is going to be important. It's an enhancement to the feature.
Super technical.
Very trust me, my background is in a lot of technical stuff. So if I am too detailed, I am sorry. Let me know if I can dumb it down a bit. And then second, obviously, is microtransaction. The definition of that is business model where users can purchase virtual goods with micropayments are often used in free-to-play games to provide a revenue source for the developers. So the difference I believe, between DLC and a microtransaction is that a DLC simply enhances the game itself. So you'll see this in like free title updates, paid title updates, but really they add something to make the game a little bit, lack of a better term, a little more spicy.
Spicy.
Now, a microtransaction is simply to add flair on an already existing feature. So things like horse armor, or things like a paint job for a battleship. Things that don't really change how the game is played, but definitely gives you some sort of aesthetic appeasement to it. So that's a good way to set the boundaries.
If you guys noticed, he had said horse armor. We're talking about. Oh, excuse me. We're talking specifically about like Oblivion, right? Like
Yes,
the
actually,
original.
that was known to be that is known to be one of the first microtransactions ever to be done in a video game.
So,
So
and that was purely
yeah,
cosmetic. It didn't really add anything to the game. It was purely just a skin.
it really was. So the whole point of that, I think, so gaming companies have been looking for a while during that time to figure out how can they make additional revenue, because obviously your revenue for a video game came to how many copies you sold in the store. Because the idea of downloading your games from the internet was such a foreign idea that it was just like selling a VHS at a Blockbuster.
Oh man, Blockbuster.
Or GameStop. Did I just make a comparison of
You did.
GameStop and Blockbuster?
You did.
Oh no!
Which let's be fair,
They really are done, aren't they?
yeah, they're getting to that point where it's going to be the same as Blockbuster very soon.
Well, if Blockbuster, sorry, if GameStop does not fully convert their stuff to online stuff, it's just not going to work out. But it's not in their favor anymore. It really isn't.
It's not. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry our chat's not working. I don't know how they get the chat box to fix itself. It just seems to be broken. I can just give you guys. Let me see if chat's working on another system, and I'll just pull it up for you guys on screen.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. So,
of course, first time we do this, technical difficulties.
we gotta work out the bugs, man. We gotta work out the bugs. But yeah, so on the topic of that, we see this evolution of DLC and microtransactions. So we go from Skyrim like horse armor, right? And let's jump ahead a few years to something like Candy Crush, where let's say you lose a level, you're having a bad time. It offers you as a life or like a pack of lies for like $1. Now, at first, you don't really think that's a lot, right? God, it's just $1. I throw $1 here, I throw $1 there. What's the worst thing that can happen? And then a week later, you look at your financials for the week, and you've noticed you spent $40 on a life.
On a game that's nothing more different than Tetris.
Yeah. And its core, it's a Tetris game. It's a puzzle game. You're moving pieces into place to make them build the map.
I mean, if I can confess something, I've never played Candy Crush. Mainly because I was just, I don't know, maybe I was a hipster in high school or college or something. I just like, nah, man, that's too popular for me to want to play.
I've played it in its infancy. I've helped my mom with levels, but I've never got into Candy Crush to the point where I was like, oh, I have to buy a life so I can keep playing.
So Candy Crush is actually a good example on how like microtransactions have evolved even through video games. Is that games like Electronic Arts, Activision, they have companies in their portfolio that are strictly mobile-based games. And those mobile-based games need to figure out how to create additional revenue. Because when's the last time you actually bought an app off the App Store?
That's a good point. I mean, even the latest game I can think of, which is Tom Clancy's new... they have this new mobile game out. If you like those weird passive games, go look it up. It's definitely for you. This is not like a sponsored thing or anything. I wish it was. But yeah,
soon,
so they have this mobile game, and it's free. But you like get our named character pack for $20. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, $20. Well, I feel like they're placing the value on the characters themselves rather than
They are. They 100%
value the game. But I mean, I think a lot of us can go back and forth as to whether or not these things are overpriced.
Yeah.
But the point being is that, circling back to mobile games, is that obviously they need to figure out how to make money off of that, because most people are not going to download an app if it even has a tagline of 50 cents to it. People are just not wanting to, most people just don't think it's worth 50 cents to get an app that they think they take so much, so less time and very easy to download. Yeah. So obviously, what's the best way to do that is through in-game transactions. So these in-game transactions essentially keep you engrossed, and if you want to unlock the full features of the game, you would basically pay to try and accelerate yourself through parts of that, through parts of that game. And then what these companies realize is that they realize they're making a buku amount of money. Yes, they're making buku money off stuff like that. And so someone got the bright idea, well, why don't we just carry that over to video games themselves, like console games, PC games? Well, much to the gaming community, much to no one's surprise, I don't think the gaming community took that very well.
Yeah. All right, guys. Chat is on screen for Facebook. I can't get the Twitch chat right now. If you're on Twitch viewing us, come join the conversation over on Facebook. We'll work out the kinks to get chat working on both systems next time. Streamlabs just doesn't like me. But yeah, so, getting back on topic, you look at what EA has done with FIFA. EA, when you talk about Electronic Arts, it's FIFA. That's where microtransactions were, to most people, born, right?
I feel like you talk about EA in general, people get like spit on the floor.
Yeah, but you know what's weird about that? You look at the new Squadrons and Fallen Order, right? And people love EA because of it, but they also have that, like, how are they going to try and break this game? So it's a really weird it's a weird conversation, because, like, I'm someone who loves EA games. Like, I'm buying the new Need for Speed game, but what's a remastered game? It's a DLC when you think about it. It's the entire game packaged into a cheaper thing,
basically.
But yeah, like, we look at FIFA, right? And how you're buying these card packs to build your ultimate team, and how you have content creators spending tens of thousands of dollars to get these things, and then they don't get it. But then they go ahead and spend another X amount of money. And it's just it's just this thing that people keep running into, and then they're suddenly like, oh, it's a problem. But it's like, it's a problem. Like, why do you keep giving into it? But there's a satisfaction to it, and that's how that draws people in. It's kind of like gambling, the
or
issue with
jaywalking.
Overwatch.
Or I say jaywalking because it's more like, we say it's a problem, we think it's a terrible thing in the community. However, we simply allow it to happen, and more often than not, like myself, we contribite to it.
Yeah, sure. It's just something you don't think about.
The thing of jaywalking is that, we say jaywalking is wrong, you shouldn't do that, but people freaking do it anyway, right? Yeah. When you see them do it, you don't exactly pull them aside and lecture them about doing it and say they shouldn't do it. You just like, oh, he's jaywalking, he's lucky to be alive, I guess.
Right? Like, he's just playing Frogger, he'll be fine.
That's not the kind of game I want to play in real life. Bad things happen to the frog if you're not careful.
Oh yeah. But, like, getting back on topic, right? We're talking about, DLCs and stuff. Well, what makes a microtransaction different from a DLC? Well, like, a microtransaction purely only in most games, not all games, right? This is a very general statement. Microtransactions add instant satisfaction or instant gratification, however you want to see it, for something that may only work half the time, right? Like, let's look at GTA or Grand Theft Auto 5 versus something like Overwatch. Two completely separate games, both with microtransaction systems. Where in GTA, you can buy the earnable in-game currency to purchase new vehicles, weapons, whatever, right? Instant gratification for something you'll probably use every day you play the game. Then you have Overwatch's loot box system, which is completely different from buying the item you want. My computer just yelled at me for some reason.
So it clearly has an opinion, Blaze.
Oh yeah. It's just saying that, sorry guys, I'm trying to clear through this as much as possible. It's just yelling at me because we tried to do something before and it didn't work. But instant gratification in GTA, where you have it, you'll use it, you know what you got for the money you bought, right?
Right.
Whereas in Overwatch, here's a box. Until recently. Here's a box. Here's what might be in said box. Here's the price tag, and gamble your money away.
Yeah, I think this is games like, instances like that is probably where the opinion on microtransactions started coming to a head, was when, you know, it essentially, I mean, by definition, this is gambling, right?
Yeah.
So you are paying money for a chance to win something. It's no different than shooting craps or blackjack, right? It's just you're paying money for the chance that you're going to win something in return.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be direct currency exchange, and that's the argument people will make. However, you are trying to, you are paying money for a perceived value, and you are getting a different value back depending on what you received.
True.
So I go ahead and buy a crate but I again haven't played Overwatch, but at least in Battlefront, you go and get a crate, and in that crate, I want to have, I'm hoping to get a certain, let's say a certain weapon, hypothetically here, right? And then
Yeah.
I get a different weapon, but it wasn't the weapon I was hoping for. You know, it's that kind of gambling nature that I think that really, for those who have an existing gambling issue, will actually continue to keep putting money in and in and in until they get what they want. And before you know it, they've spent pretty much the same price of the game.
Well, that's a big argument that they've that's making a fuss overseas right now, is loot boxes gambling. Some countries say yes, some countries say no, some countries are on the fence. But it depends on where you look at it. Like, it's just it's bad. Sometimes you get what you want instantly and it's great, but other times it has you waiting. Josh says, or an addictive personality in general. Yeah, if you have an addictive personality already, like if you're predisposed to liking something a lot, right?
So someone actually did do a study on that, of saying, like, does this contribute to gambling? Does this contribute to gambling nature? And the conclusion they came up with was that there was no correlation between paying for, or at least being introduced to a game with microtransactions like loot boxes would add to gambling behavior. A lot of the people already had that problem already.
Yeah, but you're telling me the 13-year-old from Long Island who is constantly asking their parents for money to get this skin already had gambling, in their blood. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, well,
No,
I want to know their sample size.
Well, I mean, it's just going to be, I feel like it's the same tactic that a lot of toy companies used back in the 90s and the early 2000s, is that, you're not marketing to obviously the parent is going to have to be the person to buy the toy for the kid, right?
Yeah, but I get what
however, you're marketing it to the kids.
Yeah.
And then the kids are basically the ones who are going to go to their mom, go to their mom and dad and say, can you get this for me? Like, I remember when I was a kid and, Tickle Me Elmo was all the rage, right?
Oh my god.
So
you took the example right out of my head.
Yep. So my grandma waited in line for I think half the day just to get one. I think there was a lot of fuss trying to get that damn toy. Now as a kid, I had a lot of fun with it, right? I mean, but I don't use it anymore. It's still sitting at my parents' house, and I'm sure it's worth a lot of money, but it's unboxed, so it's automatically worth less. But still, carries the memories. But you see the point here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Pan says it's like saying the age-old myth: if you have two parents who are alcoholic, you're going to be. Not to get like in the political side of that, I come from a background where that runs in my family. Does it mean I'm predisposed to it? Yeah, a little bit, but you're not going to see me. This is going.
But
back
you're not
to
like
the idea
guaranteed
of,
it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not my probability being higher statistically. Yes, but it's not going to be a guarantee. It's not going to be something that happens to me. And like I have this thing about microtransactions where I just, if I don't know what I'm getting, I tend to not do it. But that's me.
Right.
That's me.
So now keep in mind, getting back to the topic here. That is one way that microtransactions, and I actually do believe there's a correct way to do it, and that's similar to what's the game I was thinking of? I'll tell you what. I'll just tell you what it is, and then you tell me what game best matches.
Okay.
Give it to me, baby. It might be Monster Hunter too. Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And that's the a la carte marketplace method. and that's here's what we have available. Here's the price. Do you want it or not?
That's true. That's true.
So simply that's the best way to do it, and I think you'll probably see better. I think you probably get a better relationship with your community that way. Simply because you're putting full trust in the seller and the buyer. The buyer knows damn well what he's getting because it's right there in front of him, and the seller tells him how to use it.
Right. I think in the case of Monster Hunter 2, like Iceborne is definitely a DLC. It's not really a microtransaction.
That is a title update for sure.
And in like the case of DLCs, that is a full different game from like
there is a whole lot they actually changed in Iceborne, and that is a good definition to what we're trying to use as a DLC.
Yeah.
And that's it's enhancing the game itself. So things that came out of that were Clutch Claw, new combos with your weapons, new monsters,
new weapons.
Well, new weapon moves, I should say. There were moves to the weapons that did not exist until Iceborne came.
Yeah.
Example is the longsword. There is a move where you can like sheath the weapon and you can either draw and slice or draw and hack twice.
And that's all DLC. That's something that has changed your base game fundamentally, right?
Right.
That is something that has added an extra layer of complexity to what you already know and love. And then
exactly.
Look at something like Elite Dangerous, right? Which has DLC with it. Horizons, the new Frontier coming out, which is the FPS on the ground mode, which I forgot the name of. But it also
we know it's coming.
We know it's coming. It also has microtransactions with cosmetics. Do you want your ship to look a certain way? Do you want your lasers to be different colored? But those are like, you're not rolling for those. It is instant gratification. It's like, you want this, boom, you got it. And then you look at a game like Rainbow Six, right? Every season's a DLC where they fundamentally change base game, add two to 4 new characters, and then a bunch of cosmetics that they sell to you in alpha packs, which is completely RNG. But the flip to that is you never get the same thing twice. So at some point in the 10 or 20 packs it takes, you will get what you want, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
but that's still a gamble.
Yeah. I mean, yes, statistically, you can try a certain amount of points, and you will eventually get it. Nobody wants to hear that answer, though, of how many tries you have to do it at max.
Yeah, it's not gratifying. Like for even events. A Division's guilty of this too, where they hold events. excuse me, where they have premium crates. You get a few for free, and then you either buy the rest or play an incountable amount of hours to get, right?
Right.
And you're only guaranteed what you want 100% if you buy it. Because the normal person working a 9 to 5 with, maybe a small family isn't going to have the time to grind those hours into an event unless that's the only thing they play. And there are people like that who only play one game. And power to you guys. Like, if you can only play one game and be happy, that's awesome. But I couldn't personally do that.
I personally don't have the attention span for that. I mean,
I don't.
the only reason I play Destiny as long as I have is that there was a lot of exciting there was a lot for me personally. You don't have to agree with me. There was a lot of there was enough engaging content for me to stay and play a little bit. Plus I have friends who are willing to play it with me, and it's a beautiful thing if you can play it with people. But I'm not exactly on the game 24/7. And normally I feel like you hear people complain about lack of content when people like jam through the entire thing in one day.
Oh yeah, if you sit down and knock out the season in a week. Of course there's no content.
But then to turn that back around to the content creator saying there's not enough content.
It's like, well, when you make your job to only do this one thing, and then suddenly you're through this one thing, and you're complaining about it, you kind of have yourself to blame.
Yeah,
But
I know.
to that regard too, like I've had moments in um Destiny where I got through all the content and I was like, well, shit, what do I do?
That
Um,
part I understand. And well, that could be another podcast topic. Is how do you make end game more engaging? And I think this is going to play into this topic as well. Into the topic of microtransactions as well and DLC. How do you keep your player base engaged?
yeah,
And
exactly.
so, because keep in mind, you're making this content and releasing these games, and these microtransactions for one sole goal, and that is to make moolah.
Yeah. Um, and I think what Destiny does well is how they have their paid for content set up. I'm not gonna say the DLC is great. I've spent more time than I like in Destiny 2 just grinding for little things. Quests that made me play things that I don't like playing. Um, like having to do PvP with people who don't play PvP in order to get something finished.
Yeah, I know
Like
what you mean.
that's fun for me, but it's painful for the other person who has to do it. And I'm done in a match or two because I'm putting, I put up 30, 40 kills versus
So I'm kind of the
next
way where I
person.
don't like to be shepherded into a certain part of the game to try
Yeah.
and unlock something. Like,
And like that's
if
bad
you want to go,
DLC.
like, I feel like if you want to go unlock a weapon by playing PvP, you are more than welcome to do so and maybe get it done sooner. Or you can go do PvE, which is a lot less stressful, and maybe get the gun that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
So in terms of like content creation that way, DLC and everything added to the game, that's a really shitey way of doing it. Hey, we notice our player count's low in one mode, so here is a DLC or a content drop, and then boom, like there you go, have fun.
Right, but but the goal of this thing is to bring in new players, right? It's not to
Exactly.
try and you can't just play shuffleboard and move your players around to different places and expect your results to vary. I think you're just going to
Yeah, exactly.
make a very big grudge to community.
Yeah, and it's like the big problem with Destiny is,
Destiny with an X.
did I say Dex? My bad.
It does sound Destiny.
Is that
New game coming to you 2020 Destiny.
well, you get into like these content droughts where you've done everything you can, you've done all the quests, you've done all the side quests, you've done the event quests, right? And now
Right.
you're just kind of mindlessly grinding to fill up your vault. And then you want to do a raid. Cool. Get your team together, do it. You want to do the raid with randoms. Nobody wants to talk together. Everyone thinks they know how to do it because of one YouTuber. The best strategy
That could be
isn't
another
always
topic
the
too
good
that I have my own
strategy.
opinions on.
Yeah, right? But we're talking about content and pulling people in. When you have a community that's set up to knock the people with less experience, who's the content for? Because we're talking downloadable content as a business model, right?
Right.
With the idea of you want to keep your veteran guys, but you also want to attract newer players. And then they're
Right.
like, oh, well, let's go do Scourge of the Past. You get in there, you go to LFG, and the first thing you see, must have 5 completions, will check stats. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. And personally, I think it's gonna be like some job applications, right? They're gonna have these work requirements. Sometimes the work requirements don't matter, but they're doing that to set expectation. But for a video game, come on, this is
Yeah.
like, you're, I get people are passionate about games and they want to they want to play to win. That is an important drive to have. You should never lose it. However, please know there are other people who are simply just wanting to
Just to
have
play.
fun,
Just to have fun.
play a game. Yeah, like
Exactly.
if you fuck up on the raid, that's fine. Pardon my French, but
Right? Josh, I dropped a link to our Streamlabs tips jar if you want to take a look at that, if that works for you.
Ooh, Blaze, you should ask the audience, or I'll ask the audience. If you have an idea for a topic we should cover next, if you're enjoying it, please let us know.
Put it in the chat. Put it in
We've
the chat.
got subjects lined up. We just need to, we'd like to know what it is you guys want to listen to.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
You're not. Hopefully, you're not listening to the sound of our voices.
Okay, so
granted, I know I sound like a freaking angel, but
moving along. Let's see. We covered EA. We covered FIFA. We skipped over Battlefront 2. Oddly enough.
Gasp.
If you guys
didn't that one get a lot of bad press?
Yeah, if you guys don't know what happened with Battlefront basically said, here's a ridiculous amount of gameplay needed to unlock everything. And then, if you wanted the fast track stuff, here's a ridiculous amount of money you need to pay to fast track everything. And the audience hated it. Now, granted, Battlefront was never a super competitive game. It was always a casual game, at least to me. You could do fun stuff. You can play against your friends. You can play against people. It was Battlefield 4 modded for Star Wars. Fight me. But it was horrible when it launched because of microtransactions. And then they took it all away and added really good DLC that brought the community back and had everybody agree at the end of Battlefront 2's life, this game was actually a lot better than we gave it credit for. Which is, EA turned Battlefront 2 around better than any other game company could have. They listened.
Do you ever feel like that happened though? That they were simply trying to get the feel for it, and kind of like how COD does with their weapons, is that it'll be or like what you told me earlier, is that they'll make the gun ridiculously powerful and then nerf it to try to get people back. The point is that they make this whole microtransaction heavy. They make a quick buck off of the microtransactions, and then realize that, well, not realize, they knew it wasn't going to work, and then got everybody back onto it.
I don't know.
Makes sense.
I think it was legitimately someone said, hey, let's try to get this to work like FIFA, because people are only going to buy stuff for the characters they like anyway, right?
So that's the disadvantage I think a lot of these companies have, is that they're trying to take a one-size-fits-all model and apply it to games of different genres, titles, play styles, and communities even, and it's not working.
But see, in that
because
case, like,
people who play FIFA are gonna be different than the people who play Battlefront.
100%.
So it's more or less, yes, the model does work, but it only works in certain places.
Yeah. I think what what people fail to realize too is, like, I feel like the art of QA testing's dead, because it would have been really simple to get 20 to 30 content creators and ask them, how much would you be willing to pay to max out a character? Like, one character, right?
Right.
I feel like that would have been super easy. You could have averaged it out. Boom. Because then they produced this mobile
Destiny
game.
actually did that with their when they made Destiny 2 year one free.
Oh yeah, they did the content creator forum, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
What they did is that for silver, that's their in-game currency, you could actually pay to max out your character to the lowest amount of light level possible. Like, if it was like, for the season starts out at 600, hypothetically here. Season starts out at 600, you can pay silver to get to 600. It won't give you like legendary gear. It'll just give you regular rare gear. Yeah. But the point is, it puts you on par with everybody else, and you don't have to grind your way back up.
Yeah, because right now in Destiny, trying to grind from level 0 to, I think it's like 1350.
Well, I look at my character in Destiny, and I think, how did I sit through all of this?
Yeah. That it is a time and a half to get to where you need to be.
And you should be proud if you get your character up to the height it's at right now.
Oh yeah.
From the get-go. That is a remarkable.
That is an achievement.
But again, but again, that's like a community achievement there, right? I feel like Destiny knows that, okay, the players who play this are, they're there for the grind, right?
Yeah.
So, and Destiny kind of bases I'll even argue its lore around you and around you and your desire to improve yourself via your gear.
Yeah. and none of this is like paid for. Like, you could say, the microtransaction of buying a booster is cheap, but to do all of the end game content, you have to meet the level requirement. So, is it forcing you to buy it? Kinda, but at the end,
it's
is
more
still
like
your choice.
So it's more like you're trying to run a marathon, and there's a guy who's slow driving with a golf cart saying, "Hey, $5 if you want to ride to the finish line." You'll still get the completion. You'll still get the the reward afterwards. But you don't want to let the guy win, right? You don't want to pay him $5 and say that I couldn't do it, right? so you don't take the money and you start to jog yourself.
Now, granted, if you buy Destiny now, it comes with a free booster, so there's that. But if you start a new character, good luck.
Good luck. You got a long way to go. But I feel like they're doing that, basically to try to get you hyped up for the next expansion coming out, which I've already
100%.
pre-ordered. I'm excited to play it. I'm a huge lore fan of Destiny, so I like the.
Oh,
so I really do like I just like the lore behind it. Sorry, my computer just went.
Yeah, I saw. I was like, "Uh-oh, we lost Inks there."
Okay, it's like I got to move the mouse around every couple minutes. So okay, but the point being is that I'm excited for it to drop, and I can't wait for the stuff that they're gonna show there.
Yeah, it should be good. Should be good.
Should be great. But Blaze, I mean, back to. Sorry, we're still on DLC, aren't we?
We are kind of mixing the two, but
yes.
Yeah,
like we said, we're shooting the shit here.
We are.
So, it's fun. It's funny. Here's what I don't know if you want to take a little jog down memory lane here into what were arguably the first DLC.
Oh boy.
Well, maybe not the first DLC, but at least DLCs we can remember. Are you familiar with StarCraft?
Yes, of course. Of course. Yeah,
it's a dumb question, I know.
And all of their add-ons.
Oh yes. But I mean, but for StarCraft is that StarCraft is a similar game to, let's say, Age of Empires 2, where
Command and Conquer.
Yep, Command and Conquer, top down, build an army, take over the map, and win, right? But then someone like, well, how do we get people engaged with that? So both these games actually used an expansion set where you basically used another disc, and the disc would install over the old copy. And what they would do is they add new units, new races, new missions, new ways to basically create a strategized army. But it was all disc based, and I think that's had they had the technology to go on the to put all the stuff on the internet, they would have.
Oh yeah. I just want to make a note real fast. Josh says for tips and topics, just more streaming. I agree. Guys, I stream more on my Blaze Jedi gaming page. That might be changing soon though, so stay tuned for more information.
Gasp.
I know. But yeah, like you look at StarCraft and all of it was add-ons. There was not a single microtransaction in the way we think of it modern, right?
Right. No, the only additional payment you were paying for was the additional disc.
Yeah.
To use the new stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like The Sims. Way back when The Sims came out, now The Sims is very microtransaction-y, where there's the base game and then everything you had in the last game as packs you need to buy back, right?
Right.
But The Sims 2, The Sims 3, and I only know this because I played a lot of Sims when I was a kid. A new pack would come out, you go out, you buy the disc, you install it, boom, there it is. And those usually only be like $10-15 a piece, and it would change the game completely. Dude, we used to go to Blockbuster, pick up the DLC for $5 because of Blockbuster points.
See, and now I know this is an old memory.
But yeah. So,
So it's like old Blockbuster buildings are now where people just do crack deals now.
oh man, the Blockbusters down the block from me turned into a Key Foods.
Oh, how pleasant.
Oh yeah, but
Hope they're not eyeing up GameStop real estate.
well, on that note, Microsoft and GameStop have apparently entered a multi-year contract together. So who knows what's
You want
happening
my
there?
bet? I think Microsoft's fixing to buy them.
Oh, 100%.
They're doing this contract as saying, well, how well can we work out? How can we use GameStop's assets?
100%.
And if they like what they see, they're just going to buy it. I mean, I feel like that's the goal for GameStop right now, and
Just get bought.
their executive team is to just like, all right, listen, man, you gotta sell this stuff so that everybody gets the money for their shares and they can go live their happy lives. So,
all right. So what are we?
we're still on DLC right now.
Where are we at? Yeah, we're guys. We have a page of notes of like where we need to be, and we're.
I don't
all
even think
over
we're
this
following
page.
it anymore. We're
No,
just kind of
we are like we are hot on the trail with sirens behind us.
Any questions coming in from the chat about this topic?
Yeah, guys, drop comments. Question,
Yes.
comments.
Any questions? If we can't answer, we'll make something up. I mean, we
Right.
don't claim to be experts here.
No, we're just two gamers shooting it.
Exactly.
So, oh man, you know what's a really good example of this?
What's that? Of
ESO,
DLC or microtransactions?
of both.
My ESO, absolutely.
Yeah. So, guys, if you don't know what ESO is, it is called Elder Scrolls Online. It is Skyrim Oblivion MMO. And
take Skyrim, less quality, mix it with World of Warcraft, and you get the love child that is ESO.
Oh yeah, and it's not a bad game. Like innately, it's a really good play.
It's great. I'm surprised it doesn't get talked about a lot.
Well, because
granted, I've not heard about it a lot.
It's because it's Bethesda, and actually, I don't think Bethesda produces ESO. I think isn't it ZeniMax? Isn't it their parent company?
Sure.
Let's see. Who produces ESO?
That's where you're gonna hear typing right now.
Oh yeah.
Who produces ESO? ZeniMax.
It is
ZeniMax Online Studio. But Bethesda is actually it says Elder Scrolls Online is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Duh. It has to abbreviate it for me too. Developed by ZeniMax Online Studios and published by Bethesda Software.
Which is hilarious because ZeniMax was the parent company until Microsoft said, "Hi, here's $5 billion. We own you now."
I don't think that works with people anymore. So it's like that's another grave history lesson there that we may want to pass over.
But yes, so ESO has all these DLCs like you expect from a World of Warcraft, Star Wars Online kind of game, right?
Right.
And then it has a crap ton of microtransactions of things that do nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. I mean, the mounts are
them anyways, cool. Blaze.
I haven't spent a cent in ESO. I got it when it was games with gold, and now it's on Game Pass Ultimate. Angsty, we should totally go back into that game.
Well, I know someone who already plays it a lot. My buddy Wingless Saint. You should probably hit him up too. Yep, he'd be a good person to go and play that with.
But that is a game. There's a game where like DLC was done right because nobody really hated it, but microtransactions were done so wrong in my opinion.
So it's an interesting road of how we got to microtransactions, right? I mean,
it is.
We could take you to the whole history lesson here, and that's like obviously 2006 was Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion with the horse armor, right? So that was, think of that as like the test drive, proof of concept. It was a proof of concept.
That is the fetus transaction of everything that happened.
Exactly. That is the hellspawn of that which has brought microtransactions.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, it was a proof of concept. Is that Microsoft wanted to find a way that they could make additional money off a game without having to keep selling a new copy, right? And so what they did was somebody said, "Well, guess what? We're going to make a cosmetic for a horse." Of all things, and because like horse armor, no one thought of that in 2006. And and just said, okay, we're going to have players pay for it. They're going to pay for it with Microsoft points. It's going to cost 200, which amounted to about
like
$2.50.
Yeah.
So, and somebody was quoted on saying it was a new revenue stream for publishers and developers. That was the proof of concept here. And people could, it gave people the option to buy directly what they wanted. Fans were previously fine, but they were shocked at the price. Right? It's that same smartphone. It's that same smartphone game complex. Is that it's a fun game, but I just think it's too expensive. Yeah, even at 99 cents, the game is too expensive, right?
But this is also like back in a time where the idea of microtransactions wasn't a thing yet, right?
Or the idea of a game was that you got 100% of its value on
right off the bat.
Yeah, so
looking at you, Anthem. Looking at you.
So we did not get what we were promised, and
I'm still holding hope
as a community.
I'm still holding hope. I love that damn game.
No, it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like you had to like distance your. It's like your married wife for 10 years, and it's like you leave her for, I don't know, a year and a half because you need to distance yourself, only for you to heal over time.
So on that note, right?
Let's wait, move. You're not in trouble with marriage, are you?
Let's move to a topic that's a little
Where is this going?
Here, we'll move to a modern day topic of microtransactions and DLC. On this theme of Bethesda, let's look at Fallout 76, where this game launched with the premise of being Fallout 4 with multiplayer, right? Completely wasn't Fallout 4 with multiplayer.
I can tell you, before the game launched, I knew something was going wrong.
Oh, 100%. And it's because it's Bethesda.
Yeah.
But this game launch made great sales off the bat because all of us were excited. And then, for a year, server issues, hackers, new content that was promised and never added. And then, post a year, we get different shop items, all cosmetic, fairly priced, but still pretty steep on the high end. Only cosmetic, nothing major, right? Cool, DLC done right. I can earn it in-game, I can buy it from the shop. DLC done right. Or microtransactions done right, in my opinion. If you can earn it in-game, instead of buying it, or buy it outright, cool. And then, they broke their promise and added in armor kits and weapon kits, which repair your gear 100%. And it was the first pay-to-win transaction in Fallout, where they promised it wouldn't exist. And that is where...
There might have been something lost in translation there.
Oh yeah, and that's where the community went, whoa, this is not good. And they were expensive. It was like $20 for 5 of them. Like, they were expensive, and they were
the concept idea then came from, oh my gosh, look how much this person grinded in this game. He must have spent so many hours on it too. Oh my gosh, look how much money this person spent on this game.
And then we're talking. So part of microtransaction, in my opinion, is subscription services for games, right?
Right.
I'm not talking like your subscription for ESO or World of Warcraft. In Fallout 76, there is a subscription service called Fallout First. This gives you bonuses every month, private servers where you can do whatever you want without interference from other players, and you get a moniker on the in-game menu. Cool, fine, whatever. $100 and something for the year. All right, whatever. If this is the only game you play, cool. Then it started giving them extra legendaries, extra build components, things that normal players really
right
want.
All of this was just basically an effort to get people onto Fallout First.
Yes, and it backfired really bad because normal players would start griefing and bullying anybody with the Fallout First moniker. Ooh. And Bethesda's answer to this was just play on your private server, which you couldn't do right away because private servers didn't work. So we want to talk about horrible implementation of microtransaction content, right?
That Exhibit A right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just horrible, horrible.
Oh dear. Because one thing you don't want to do in a gaming community is basically to try and separate, people into two different clubs, right? Because you will create the people that are, in the Fallout First club who have all this unique stuff and can boast about it because they have all that content stuff. But then you have the people who are not on Fallout First who will resent the people on Fallout First and do anything they can to make them feel bad for even being on Fallout First.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It's terrible.
I guess we're almost at an hour, so I guess we should just do our closing remarks, right?
I mean, any questions come in?
Oh, our chat's dead, which should be expected because our page isn't.
It is our first.
It is the first. One, it is the first.
So we don't even know where we went with this.
So
okay.
Yeah, let's swing it around and close it up, right? So guys, no matter what your opinions are, and we do value them, like put them in the chat if you're viewing the VOD. Put them in the damn chat.
And then we'll ignore them. I'm kidding.
Angsty will ignore them. I read over them because that's my job here at Stress Iron.
He will read them and then read them to me.
Right, dutifully.
Dutifully.
So, guys, thank you all for joining us on our first podcast. We're definitely going to be doing more, probably during the week, because I'm home for a week. Angsty's home for a week. We have time.
We do have time. And quite frankly, there's plenty of stuff we could talk about.
Oh, hundreds and hundreds of topics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But frankly, I think that the goal of this podcast is basically for a couple gamers to chat about certain things within the gaming community that maybe we all just I don't know, haphazardly go off on a Twitter tangent about. But then obviously talk it through. Like, how does that make us feel? Where is it going now?
Yeah.
Specifically with microtransactions, if you want my opinion, I think they're here to stay.
Oh, they're 100% here to stay. And as a business model, I get it. I see it. And I enjoy some of them. Like Warframe, I enjoy their microtransactions. I don't mind paying for platinum to get a Warframe or a gun. Like, I love the game. I don't mind supporting the developers.
Yeah, and if you here's the thing: if you like the game, you'll spend money on it. I mean, that's the goal.
That's why people buy the same phone every year.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I still use an Apple iPhone. And
I have an iPhone.
I like it because I just like it because it's very easy to use.
I have an iPhone because it's simple, and now I like it even more because everyone at the office has an iPhone, so I don't get a dozen texts in a group text.
Oh my goodness gracious. But I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if there's a lesson to be learned from microtransactions, I think, one, you just got to accept that they're here to stay. You are not beholden to buy what's on the store.
You're not. It's always a choice. It's always a choice.
Like, and if you love the game so much, you're likely to spend additional money on it. But that's of your choice. It's like if your friend owns a burger joint, you're more than likely to go eat at that burger joint because your friend owns it.
Yeah, it's true. All right, guys, you are now seeing our Elite Dangerous background from a long time ago. Everybody, thanks again for joining us. And if you're viewing the VOD, leave a comment below. Let us know. That's going to do it here for us today on Stress Iron Gaming. The next time you see this podcast, it might be here. It might be on the Blaze Jedi channel. But guys, if you want more of this content, go check out my personal streaming page, Blaze Jedi Gaming. Angsty will be with me there. And guys, we'll see you in the next podcast. So yeah, so long. Farewell. Thanks, everybody.
All right, later. I'm going back in my dumpster.